Okay, so I'm going to tell you a bit of a story on my journey from Largs Marina over to the Isle of Arran. So I'd set off and I'd had a bit of an issue with the outboard, and the weather was a bit windier than I'd wanted it to be. I'd got one reef in and I was unsettled. The outboard had put me off. I'd trouble with my tiller. I'd ended up taking the tiller reducer off. So I was unsettled, but I was on starboard tack and I'm heading down the Clyde and all seems quite good. And you know that way when you're on the tiller and you're looking around at how messy things are, and I'm looking at the port shroud and it's looser than I've ever seen it before. And I thought, I've never noticed it being quite as loose as that, when it just came apart straight off the turnbuckle and it's now dangling in mid-air. So I'm in starboard tack. I know that if I go in port tack, I've got the potential of losing the mast, and then it's a mayday call, a complete disaster. I'd only just came out of Largs Marina. My day had just started. So what I need to fix it. So what's my choices? I need to lash the tiller so that I kept on starboard tack, but then I'm going to have to move my body weight over to the port side to fix this. But I can't leave it. I'm going over to Arran, so I have to have a go. So I get a rope, lash my tiller to the best I can for heading the heading I'm on, and I go forward. So I grab the turnbuckle, I grab the shroud, and I screw the shroud into the turnbuckle a good few turns. Pretty good. Sit back, grab the tiller, and think, right, I've got away with it. That was good. That's good. That's going to last me. And I'm looking at it, and I can see it's turning. And as I watched it, it unturned and came totally adrift again. And in my frantic panic to reattach the two, all I'd done was I'd screwed the shroud and its wire rope. So it took the screwing. And so when I released it, all it did was unscrew itself and released itself. So I'm back to square one. I need to get this done. My stomach's now really churning. So repeat the process. Lash it. Would I get away with it twice? Lash the tiller and go for it. So this time I grabbed the turn screw, unscrewed it as much as I could, grabbed the dangling shroud, offered it up to it, and turned the turnbuckle. Got it as tight as I could, got the nuts finger tight because it's the best I could do, got back, grabbed the tiller, and all was well. And it lasted all the way to Sannox Beach, where I could get a pair of pliers on it and just nip them up. So, what's the moral of the story? When you're sitting in your living room with Roger Barnes's book on dinghy cruising, and you see an illustration of why you should use rope instead of turnbuckles, and you think, that's quite a good idea, that I'm going to put a bit of rope in my spares box so that if ever a turnbuckle fails, I've got the very thing to fix it. But that turnbuckle isn't going to come to bits or fail when you're on a beach or when you're on anchor. It's going to be when you're under stress and just having a pants day. So don't think me an idiot too much. And I was just trying to have an adventure.